Hey you guys, it's Michelle, or you can call me Shell. I'm a licensed cosmetologist. A lot of people have been asking me how do they start heat training their hair. So heat training is really good if you want to be able to manage your hair better. It makes it easier to style your hair. It can stop breakage. It can stop fairy knots and split ends. It can stop your hair from being so dry. So I've been heat trained for some years now, and if you are a subscriber of mine and you watch my previous videos, then you know that I silk press my hair a lot because I don't know, silk presses are just my favorite style. But you also know that I like to do it the healthy way, and I like to keep my curl pattern because I do wear my curls and my kinky hair in the spring to summer months as well. Okay, so now I'm talking about like who heat training is for. So if you want to be able to manage your hair better, stop split ends, stop fairy knots, and stop your hair from being so dry, and you don't really care about altering your curl pattern. Also, if you're looking to retain length and grow your hair longer and healthier, then heat training may be a good idea for you. Okay, so now I'm gonna be sharing who heat training is not for. So if you are the type of person that do not want to alter your curls in any way, shape, or form, then heat training may not be for you, because if you do it long enough, you will start to see a change in your curls. You will start to see them loosening up a little bit. So if you don't want to alter your curls, the heat training may not be for you. Also, if you are a person that has split ends traveled all the way up your hair shaft, heat training is not going to be for you, because you cannot repair, you cannot moisturize, you cannot stop breakage on hair that is mostly split ends. You can't repair split ends. So when that happens, you want to be able to transition out of that damage first before you start to heat train your hair. What I did was I made a healthy hair care guide, and it is free, so I'll leave the link to it in my description box. You can download that guide. So if you are having any type of troubles with your hair, download that guide, and it will help you get healthier hair within 6 to 12 months, depending on how bad your hair is. It may take some people a little bit longer, but download that guide and it will guide you to healthier hair, and then you can start heat training if you have split ends. A lot of them. Another thing is, if you have really damaged hair and that's the only thing that's preventing you from wanting to heat train your hair, then I would say you can start off by blow drying your hair maybe once a month or once every other month, and that will kind of start to get your hair, you know, stretched out. Because when your hair is in a stretched out state, it is typically healthier than always having it ravel with one another, especially if you are having problems with fairy knot. Okay, so once you start heat training, the first thing you want to do is set yourself up on a routine. So you need to figure out how many times do you want to silk press your hair within a year, or you can just say, okay, well, I'm going to silk press my hair, or not even just silk press. You can alternate between blow dry or flat iron too. So it just depends on your preference and what you want to do. So you can say, okay, I'm going to silk press or flat iron my hair once every 2 to 3 weeks, or once every 3 to 4 weeks. Or you can say I'm gonna do it monthly, or you can say I'm gonna do it once every 2 to 3 months. So then you need to set a schedule for how many times you are going to flat iron or silk press your hair. So I'll give you guys an example of me. So I silk press my hair every 3 to 4 weeks. I actually used to do every 2 to 3 weeks, but now I'm doing every 3 to 4 weeks in the fall and winter months. So in the spring and summer months, what I typically do is I take a little break. I might flat iron my hair here and there in the spring and summer months, but typically what I do is I like to wear my wash and go still. I like to do my twist outs, my braid outs, all of that in those months. So that is what I found that works for me. And it is trial and error, just like with anything. So if you don't know, or you confused or anything, just make sure you just paying attention to your hair. I would say start off with doing maybe once a month or once every other month, and then gradually do more if you want to do more. So one thing you want to keep in mind when you are setting your routine is, as you guys can see, and if you watch my previous video, I have high density kinky textured hair. So, and it's also low porosity, so that hair type and texture typically can handle heat better than someone who has finer, low density hair that is high porosity. So with low porosity hair, that cuticle is shut a little bit tighter and it's protecting those bonds that are in the hair. With high porosity hair, the cuticles are more open and your cortex layer inside of the hair shaft is more exposed. So once you put heat on it, you'll probably alter your curls a little bit more than someone with low porosity hair and that has thicker or kinkier hair. Even if you do have high porosity hair, or if it's fine or low density, you can still heat train your hair. You just are going to have to pay more attention to it, making sure that it's not damaging. You probably don't want to flat iron or silk press your hair as often as someone with my texture hair, but it's personal preference, and you just want to pay attention to how your hair is doing with whatever you choose to do. You also just want to pay attention to prevent long-term damage to your hair. So that is something that you really have to keep in mind, is that sometimes you don't see damage right away, but you can get long-term damage. That's why I stress take breaks from heat, take a couple months off, take like 3 to 4 months off from using heat, just so you don't get that long-term damage, and you can keep your hair healthy. You can keep, because you guys always ask me, how do I keep my ends blunt and healthy and not have like gaps in them? So I trim my hair a lot, and I'm making sure I take my breaks so that my hair doesn't become damaged long term. So once you have your routine set, you guys know that I always tell you, include Olaplex treatments into your regimen, and making sure you have good quality products. So not just Olaplex treatments, make sure you have good quality products that have protein in them, provitamin B5 in them, silk amino acids to help rebuild the structure of the hair. So making sure that you have quality natural hair care products in your regimen, along with the Olaplex treatments, and making sure you are keeping your hair hydrated by deep conditioning your hair. I say once or twice a month. I typically tell my clients don't do any more than maybe once or twice a month. Another thing I tell people to do if you want to start heat training your hair is to use ceramic versus titanium. Unless you are a professional, or if you just an expert and you know how to use titanium irons, then go ahead. But ceramic is typically going to be less aggressive. Quality ceramic, I should say, quality ceramic tools are going to be less aggressive, and they're going to be more gentle on the hair, and they're just going to give you your hair is going to be healthier long term if you decide to do quality ceramic tools versus titanium. I personally mix both, so I'll sometimes, if I want a super sleek look, I'll go with the titanium, but if not, then most of the time I am using ceramic tool. And you guys know I say this, never go to 450. I don't care how kinky, how coarse your hair is. Try to never go to 450 degrees on your flat irons. Try to stay at medium to low heat on your blow dryers, and you don't want to meet the blow dryer in your hair a lot, because I don't know how people get heat damage from blow dryers. You should never be getting heat damage from blow dryers. So try not to meet the blow dryer in your hair, especially on high heat, because no, you don't want to damage your hair. And then if you have like a finer, low density hair, then I would say stay at below 400, either 400 or below 400, depending on how fine and how thin that hair is. And of course, you always only want to do one pass with the flat iron when you are heat training your hair. Do 2 passes if you are doing curls, but other than that, making sure that when you are blow drying your hair, blow dry it straight. Make sure you get the roots, because I see a lot of people, they'll flat iron their hair but they'll catch the roots 3 or 4 times. You might want to just switch to working on your blow drying technique, getting your blow drying technique straight, and then you will only need 1 pass with the iron. The last thing I want to mention is making sure that you follow me on Instagram, Shellgrowshair. Those are my tips for you starting to heat train your hair. It's going to make your hair more manageable. It's going to help you stop breakage, split ends, those fairy knots. And it's just going to help your hair be more manageable. It's going to help you retain length. And I know this because I've been through the trial and error of heat training. I've gotten heat damage. I've had all of that. So I pretty much have gone through all of that, and now I know what works. To follow these tips, download the hair care guide, and that's it, y'all. That is how you're going to start heat training your hair the healthier way.